What is up, everybody? This is Phil, the Kaiju King, from my collection room in Greater Cincinnati. And in this video, I will be doing, as you can see from the intro, my top 5 X Plus Gigantic Series releases that's been released so far. This wasn't an easy decision, but I've come up with my top 5. And it wasn't, like I said, not very easy, but I did it, and I'm going to stick to my guns on this. Just my opinion on them as to my top 5. And I love every one of them, but these are my favorites. Number 5 on my X Plus Gigantic rankings of the top 5 is the Yuji Sakai X Plus Gigantic Series Godzilla 1954. It is an amazing figure. It's details off the charts. Some say that the paint is bland, but I tend to look at it that it's just a black and white matte finish, kind of paying homage to the black and white film. It's a great figure. The dorsal plates are expertly done, in my opinion. He's a pretty big guy, too. Teeth individually sculpted, tongue there nicely. I love how his eyes look down to the side. It's kind of creepy when you look at him sideways, but it's really cool. But it's a great figure. I love this thing. I know one of the X Plus collectors group, a good friend, Liam Foley, is recently is going to get this sooner than later, I believe. And Liam, I can tell you, you will not regret getting this wonderful figure. It is a knockout of a figure. It is a tribute to the 1954 original Godzilla in every shape and form. And to me, I had to put him in my top 5 because, one, I love the figure, and this is the original Godzilla. How could I not put him into this list? So it's just an automatic pick for me to be in the top 5 to this point. But number 5 is the Yuji Sakai Godzilla 1954 Gigantic. Now we will go on to number 4. Number 4 is my X Plus Gigantic Series Shin Godzilla 2016. It is the standard edition with the red dorsal plates, the red down his back. And I know Rick, I think, had a roaring head version, a head, interchangeable head, but it was a roaring mouth, and he was all with the purple, which was signifying the initial light up for his atomic beam. So this is actually a really awesome figure. I think there's some stylization in it, but it's in a good way. A couple of the others are stylized, in my opinion, in the Gigantic line, the 01 GMK and the 2000. I think they both have some stylization. There's nothing wrong with it, though. It's fine, totally fine. But this is a really awesome big figure. The heaviest Gigantic X Plus is released so far by far. I don't even think it's close. But he's really a breathtaking figure, a big figure. His tail is absolutely crazy enormous. But it's a really nice figure. I would highly recommend it to anyone that does not have it. It is the X Plus Shin Godzilla Gigantic Series 2016. Very highly sought after figure, I think, because it's never got a reissue here, and I know they're high on eBay. They're out of this world. I think I paid $700 for this, shipped from Japan, and I didn't have it pre-ordered. It was after it was initially, right after it was initially released. I jumped on one I seen on eBay for like $700, so now I know they're all like over 1,000, I think. Kind of crazy, so. But this is number 4, the Shin Godzilla Gigantic Series X Plus, Standard Edition. Now we will go to number 3. Number 3 in my top 5 list of the X Plus Gigantic Series figures is the X Plus Gigantic Series Godzilla 1989, recently released. This is the Rick that has the open mouth, closed mouth option. I got the closed mouth in right now. He also has the glow in the dark fins. I took him up, took some pictures. He was in my lights for a few minutes, and I brought him out into the dark hallway, and oh my God, to bring him back down here, and these things lit up pretty good. So I think if it gets some good light on them, they do light up. So I've never really tried it, but it looked pretty lit up, fairly lit up to me, and it was only in the light for 5 minutes. So, but yeah, this is an absolutely amazing figure. The detail is, it's probably the most detailed of the gigantic line, to be honest. It's really breathtaking figure. He's at number 3 probably because it ain't my favorite Heisei. The 84 and the 95 are my favorite, tied for my favorite of the Heisei. So, but it is a fantastic figure in every shape and form. Everybody that's got it knows that. So, but it's a really awesome tribute to the 89, that's for sure, in every way. But this is number 3 on my list, the X Plus Godzilla 1989 Gigantic Series. Now we will move on to number 2 on my list. Number 2 on my list of the X Plus Gigantic Series rankings, my personal list, is the Gigantic Series Godzilla 1995, or Burning Godzilla as he is affectionately known. This is a wonderful figure. I do have this one, and I also have the Gigantic Burning Godzilla Frozen version that came with the Super X. I have both of these, but this is the original release. I think this is actually the SDCC version I got from John Stanowski and Flossie's back when I really first started collecting this. This was my first gigantic on it, actually, so it's pretty special in that regard. Great figure. I love the way the fins there have, they're translucent there a bit, and you can see some light through them. But wonderful figure. Everything on it is top notch in my opinion. Highly recommend this figure. I think there's still some in stock at some of the places like Flossie's and Awesome Collector, and maybe even Vampire Robots, I'm not sure, but this is a highly recommended figure in my opinion. Great rendition of the Burning Godzilla in my eyes, and I love the position, the pose and everything. I love the tail, even though it's a pain in the butt to display him, because you have to sit him a catty cornered or sideways on a shelf to manage, and your shelf has to be far away from the wall too. But that's a minor thing to me to have such a great piece in the collection. Very nice figure. But this is number 2 on my list of the top 5 X Plus Gigantic Series, the Godzilla 1995, or Burning Godzilla. Now we will go to my number 1 X Plus Gigantic Series figure. My number 1 in my top 5 of the X Plus Gigantic Series figures is the X Plus Gigantic Series Godzilla 1962 from the infamous movie Godzilla vs. King Kong. This is my favorite gigantic. It's been ever since I first laid my hands on it. I got it at G-Fest in 2017. It was one of 3 X Plus figures I acquired that year, so that was my first G-Fest, and he is a wonderful figure. I love the pose. It's like he's spinning around to confront Mr. Kong, and I just love everything about this figure. I love the girth. He was big like that. I love the bagginess in the knees and the side of the hips and stuff from for the indication of the bagginess of the suit. Of course, he's got that goofy 62 look, but I love it. I can't help but love it. And it's a very wonderful rendition of the 62. The large hands. That 62 suit, I always notice that his hands are really big, so. But it's just a wonderful, wonderful figure. I've always loved it. It'll always probably, unless they do a 68 or a 75 suit, this will probably always be my favorite gigantic X Plus by far. I just can't get enough of looking at it, seeing it on my shelf here on the top of the shelf, and it's just absolutely amazing. But this is number one in my top 5 X Plus Gigantic Series figures, the X Plus Gigantic Series Godzilla 1962. I will close my video here with a close-up ending with all my top 5. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in and enjoying my top 5. I'm sure people will disagree with my top 5, but that's just my opinion, how I feel about them at this point. So it wasn't easy to pick these, but those are my top 5. I will close this out for this evening, and I want to thank everyone that tunes in and watches. And this is Phil, the Kaiju King, signing off. Me and Godzilla 62 will be signing off. He's the number 1 on my list. And you all have a great evening and a wonderful weekend.